Hi, my goal in this video is to help you to understand the relationship between all these things that we've been dealing with, like variables and numbers and operations and expressions. So how do we take that and actually use it and apply it to the real world and real world scenarios? So that's the goal for us to start doing that in this video. All right, so the first thing that I want us to look at is an equation. What is an equation? Believe it or not, an equation is actually just a sentence. But it's a mathematical sentence. We can go back and forth between a verbal sentence, like spoken sentence, and a mathematical sentence, depending on what we need. So an equation is a mathematical sentence that's formed by taking two expressions. So I'm just going to shortcut it here and write expression. Two expressions that are equal to each other, and you put the equal sign in between the expressions. So, for example, 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. That is an equation because 5 plus 3 is an expression. So let me put the example here in red. 5 plus 3 is an expression. 8 is also an expression, a short one, but it is. And they are equal. So that is an equation. We can have an equation with variables in it. So for example, we could have 5 plus x is equal to 8. And then now it's still an equation, even though there is an unknown in there. Now, for an equation with an unknown, the unknown will have a number that makes it work. The number that makes it work is called the solution. So if you're ever asked to solve an equation, you're being asked for the number that makes the equation true. So in this case, the solution is 3 because 3 would make that equation a true statement. 3 would make that a true statement. So the solution would be 3. So if you're ever asked for a solution, you're being asked for the number that you can put in place of the variable that makes it true. All right, now that we've done all those definitions, let's actually practice converting between words and math sentence. All right, cool, let's do it. Okay, so in order to do this, you do have to know what words like sum, difference, quotient, product, you have to know what those words mean, and I think you probably do. If you don't, you should look back. All right, but we're going to focus on sum because sum is involved in this question, and the sum is the result of an addition problem. So we know that you're going to be adding in this particular thing. So the sum of x and 6, so we're adding x and 6 is, and every time you see is in a verbal sentence, it means equal in a math sentence or an equation. So the sum of x and 6 is 9. So we're not going to find a solution. You probably already did, but we're not going to find a solution in this video. We'll do it in another. All right, let's do another example, but let's go from a math sentence / equation to a verbal sentence. Okay, so now we're going the other direction. We have an equation and we want to write this down in words. What is this in words? And you may recall that when you have a fraction here, it means divided by. And when you're dividing, you could also use the word quotient. So I could say the quotient of n and 2, or I could say n divided by 2. It's my choice. I choose n divided by 2. And remember that the equal sign is just is. So I can now say is 9. So n divided by 2 is 9. And then you can figure out what n is if you like, but we're not going to do it in this video. Now we're going to actually try a real word problem with real application. Okay, so we have here go-kart rides cost $5 each. The operator takes in a total of $1,000, and then we're being asked how many times did people ride the go-kart. And the question didn't ask this, but I am asking this. What's the equation that represents this? Now, I don't see an X, a Y, a B, C, D, anything anywhere. So when that happens, when you see clearly it's a problem that you don't know something, that you need to know something, you can define a variable. So we don't know how many times people rode the go-kart. We have to define that unknown, meaning we'll call that number something. It could be X, it could be Y. I'm choosing something specific. We're talking about rides, so I'm going to call it R. So I'm going to say let R be the number, of rides. Okay, cool. So now we know the number of rides is R. We don't know what that number is yet, but we know it's R. And we also know that each of those R rides costs $5. So if you take 5 and you multiply it by R, you get the total amount of money earned. And that is the equation that we're looking for. Now, we didn't talk about how to solve an equation yet, so for now, you could do guess and check, or if you already know how to solve this equation, by all means, go ahead and solve it. For now, I'll just tell you what the answer is, and later in the course, you'll learn how to officially solve this equation. The value for R that makes this statement true is 200. So 200 is our solution. And that's the number of rides that was sold that day.